Greetings sailors and welcome to World of Warships, and today I kind of have my pimp hat on because I am pimping out Pricey here. Maybe I could have thought of a better way to put that. I'm sure he won't mind. Anyway, yes, Pricey, who is, I think, Pricey Gamer or something like that on Twitch. You might possibly recognise his name from a ways back on Circumflex's stream. You'll almost certainly also recognise Nikos there if you're a regular on Circon stream. And so, yeah, he is doing his own streams a bit these days, and in order to celebrate reaching 1,000 followers on Twitch, he's actually having a little giveaway this Saturday. So if you are interested, he's got some days of premium time along with some flags, and if enough people show up, he may even give away a ship. Who knows? So obviously I will put the link in the description below, and you can go and check out his Twitch channel. And hopefully with this game that I've picked out, because he sent me a couple, it will convince you that he is a decent enough player to be worth watching. Probably a better player at Warships than I am, to be honest. So this is the Ognevoi, and the theme of this game is going to be the unnatural love between the Ognevoi, between Pricey's Ognevoi and this here island. Because this is, of course, Epicenter, and I don't think I've put up too many Epicenter matches, because when I am playing in Epicenter games myself, I find it's a very, very variable experience. Teams never quite seem to know what to do, and so it is just incredibly inherently unpredictable. And quite often that means it's a very, very one-sided game, because you get one team that just flails around a bit and another team that just is aggressive enough to hold the cap circles or even just kill enough stuff that it becomes a very one-sided affair. I'm not a big fan of Epicenter. I've had some decent games, but mostly it's just too chaotic. This is also a first in that I don't believe I've had an Ognevoi replay on the channel before. At least not since I was doing the Soviet destroyer previews. That's a very long time ago at this point. It's not a ship that I've been sent many replays of at all, in fact. I've probably been sent some Kiev games and maybe some Khabarovsk games, but all the Soviet destroyers generally, you don't see them around that much. And in fact, the Soviet ships generally, the cruisers as well, are also not particularly common. And it's one of the current ARP missions, at least on EU, is to kill 20 ships of each nation. And for an awful lot of people, they've gotten all of the nations by this point except for the Soviet ships, because you just don't see nearly as many Soviet ships as you do of the rest of the nations. So that makes it a bit tricky, because it's one of the new ones. I think it's the Nachi, or however you say that. One of the Miyoko clones, anyway. Anyway, so very short range torpedoes on this, obviously. The following ship, the Kiev, is of course exactly the same. But with that short range, you get very fast speed, so it becomes hard to dodge those torpedoes. Mostly, though, this is about the guns, and although he's not racked up a huge amount of damage so far, well, if you pay attention, you'll notice he does switch a lot between the HE and the AP on these 130mm guns. And that's because, well, what he's doing is he's using the HE to set the fires, and then he's using AP to try and get the citadels. In fact, he even uses AP on the battleships sometimes, and that is... It might seem at first a strange choice, but HE is a little unpredictable and unreliable sometimes. So once you've set the fires, which is obviously where you get the ticking damage from, if you can get volley after volley of AP into the side of a cruiser, for instance, or even into battleship superstructure, it can be more reliable damage. And that's exactly what he's doing against this New York. He's set the fire, and it's burning away, giving him extra damage, of course, and now he's pelting AP into the side of this guy. In fact, it's more into the superstructure, but he's getting, you know, 1,000+ volleys from these guns with quite a fair regularity. This, by the way, I mean, if you're expecting a high-octane whizzing around destroyer game, this is not going to be it. Like I said, this island and this Ognevoi, they form a very special symbiotic bond. Maybe we should give this island a name. What could we call it? How about Natasha? That's a good Russian name. There we go. So Natasha and this Ognevoi, and Pricey's Ognevoi, yes. They get on very well together, clearly. So we skipped ahead a little bit. His smoke's just about gone, but you can see this Budyoni pushing. And hello! Okay, that Nuremberg was a little close with those torpedoes, but it's fine. They weren't actually in any danger of hitting. It's just when somebody does something like that, it always gives you a slight moment of heart palpitations. I'm not quite sure how to put it, but you know, a slight moment of panic, because you never know with random teammates if they are actually just going to torpedo you in a moment of supreme carelessness or just outright idiocy. These things can happen. So the Budyoni's down. That's a nice broadside Nuremberg, so onto the AP shells. And of course he's spotted while he's doing this, but his smoke's not that far off. And the fact that he's behind this island, I mean, he's got allies that are taking the focus. So he is really in a perfect gunboat position, even though he can't smoke up and be in concealment for quite as much time as an American destroyer would manage. It's not mattering that much, because he's in a fairly safe position to just keep doing what he's doing, and he's the one with the cap points here as well. In fact, I think he's the only one in the centre at the moment, although the Farragut was, but no, the Farragut's backed out, and we can tell that because he's now actually capping the centre zone. Anyway, it looks like that Emerald's making a move around. He's got smoke available. He's also got the AP loaded. Broadside Emerald this is. Oh wow, this is very, very tasty. He does have to be slightly wary about the Emerald maybe putting out torpedoes, of course, but look at this. Look at this. That's 3.5k from that salvo. One more should do it. There we go. More citadels. Now, it doesn't look like the Emerald's put out torpedoes, and that's probably the greatest danger. Oh, no, there we go, but they're definitely going to miss. That's probably the greatest danger when you're staying relatively static in a cloud of smoke like this, is that somebody might just pop around the corner and put torpedoes in your face. But the torps on this thing, well, anybody doing that has to get within range of his torps, and they are relatively quick reloading. He also does have good matchmaking on his side. I mean, it's a tier 6 game, and Nikos, actually, I was slightly looking at the team list and wondering why Nikos was in the Kirov. He might have been dragged up into a tier 8 game, potentially. But he got lucky, and they weren't. And with it only also being a tier 6 game, there's also only one enemy destroyer who has been disinclined to be aggressive enough to push around and put torps into the smoke, because it would have been a bit suicidal to do so. He's got Pricey's got a lot of backup here, so he always was going to be relatively safe from people pushing around in force. Anyway, that Bayern's getting awfully close. Not quite sure why he's pushing forwards. Maybe he's just irritated to have been shot by a Soviet destroyer over and over again. And it's funny, with cruisers, and hello, Emerald, doing what the Königsberg was doing earlier, except with a single torpedo, it looks like. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like cruisers or HE spamming destroyers, you can really irritate people with those, to the point where they will start exclusively focusing you over ships that maybe they should be firing at. And perhaps there was some of that in yesterday's Yamato game from myself, where I was firing at a Moskva over and over instead of broadside battleships, which would have been far more sensible as a target. But my defense is, it was late and it was the last game of the stream, and also Caption Guy's going to have a field day with this, but I am a bit of a noob sometime. But hopefully Caption Guy will miss that. Hopefully he won't have heard me saying that, and he'll just be his usual complimentary self. Yes, that'll definitely happen. Anyway, broadside of a Kirov. This is a prime target for those AP shells. If he's lucky, he can get some more citadels, and even if he doesn't, he should be able to rack up some more fairly decent damage. And there we go, double citadel. So yeah, this guy is not in any imminent danger of swinging his guns around. There's nothing else that can shoot at Pricey right this instant, so it really is a very safe situation to open up with his guns. However, that Fuso has now decided to go forwards. That's a very bad move, as he's about to find out. So there go the torpedoes. That Fuso is just completely doomed. Completely doomed. And there we are. 4 hits, and Confederate medal, and a devastating strike. That Fuso had quite a lot of hit points, and now he's dead. Yes, I'm not entirely sure why he did that. It's not like they didn't know Pricey was here. He has, after all, been here for the vast majority of the match. So it's not like you could claim ignorance as an excuse. So that's the enemy team just about broken, quite honestly. They've lost enough health, and they've just scattered that at this point there's pretty much no way they're going to come back from this. They've got a Koenig in the east who's alone and surrounded by 3 ships. Those 2 ships on the west flank, they're not looking too healthy, and then there's the carrier up in the north. And this is the kind of situation in a gunboat destroyer where you can just open fire with impunity, and even if someone does shoot back at you, there's so few enemy guns left to shoot back at him that Pricey's probably not going to be in any real danger here. They're likely to go for slower moving, easier to hit targets, especially lower health targets like that Emerald. That would be a very tempting one indeed. I almost tried to say tasty and tempting at the same time there, because, you know, both words would work in that context, and then my brain just temporarily went, let's say both at the same time, but I caught myself, which is not something I always manage to do. Anyhow, so yes, there goes the Emerald, and that New York's got a shot left, so he decides to take a pop at Pricey. That's probably that one awkward mid-turret where you have to be basically full-on broadside to use it. I think Pricey's just trying to set another fire at this point. He's also probably, with the view to getting more damage, I think my guess is he is hunting for the carrier, because he could just charge at the New York. The New York's rate of fire is not especially good compared to this thing. He's taking fire from multiple directions. And the thing is, with this kind of situation as well, I mean, you might take some hits, but unless it's a battleship firing HE specifically for you, you're probably going to be able to dodge and survive unless you get incredibly lucky. So yeah, instead of charging down the New York and just going in all guns blazing, he's going for the carrier instead. They are, however, very close to winning this on point, so unless he gets super lucky with a detonation or something, I mean, even if he sets 4 fires, I don't think there would be enough damage over time there, because, well, they were at over 900 points, and they've just won. So that was 132,000 damage with 6 torpedo hits, 177 main battery hits, and even a plane kill. Not bad. And that with, along with the capping, and this might have been before they nerfed XP for capping, I'm not sure. That was enough to get him well at the top of the team, 1,000 points almost clear of the next player, at 2,730 XP. So that wasn't too shabby at all. And it's one of the better mid-tier destroyer results I've seen and that I've had submitted to me. I mean, there's always Fujin and Kamikaze games, of course, but, well, those things are just maybe a tiny bit OP because you can put your very, very good high-tier Japanese destroyer captains in them. So, there we go. Quite a healthy profit and a decent amount of XP out of that game, unsurprisingly. I suspect if there were such things in warships, that would have been an ace mastery, but of course, that isn't a thing in warships. Maybe someday. I'm sure that's a thing they would like to add at some point. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. And so, well, as we come to the end of this, it just behooves me to remind you again, that you can find the link to Pricey's stream below. He will be giving some stuff away on this coming Saturday, and I urge you to go and take a look and just see what you think. Maybe you'll enjoy it. So hopefully you've enjoyed this replay. If you have, you can leave any comments below. You can hit the like button. You can sub to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, stay tuned for more.